Hello and welcome back to another episode of Money, Mindset, and Manicures. My name is Samantha Kazuch, your host, and I am so excited for this episode, mostly because one, we are in the middle of the year, and two, this is the fourth episode of this podcast, and our first three episodes have gotten so many reviews. I've received so much positive feedback, and I am just so grateful for every single one of you that took the time to either share and repost to social media about this podcast. Those of you that have left a review, thank you so much. And I just want to say we are doing a giveaway right now. So if you do post a review on the podcast, please screenshot it, post it to Instagram stories, tag Money, Mindset, and Manicures, the podcast, and also myself. I am Samantha Kazuch, and in episodes 5, 6, and 7, I'm going to be giving away 3 $100 Visa gift cards, one per episode, but you have to leave a review, post it to Instagram stories, tag us, and I will then announce a winner on every episode throughout those 3. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I'm so excited to dive in. We have a lot to get through today, so I hope you are ready, because this is the time of the year where you get to decide how it all ends. And it's not too late to set new goals. It's definitely not late to really recreate the life that you want to live. With that being said, we also just started our mid-year reset accountability challenge inside the Marriage Gifted community. So if you love this podcast, if you love this episode and you want to dive in more and get more support and more actionable steps to help you through the next 6 months, then I highly encourage you to join. It's completely free. I've linked it down in the show notes, but if you are listening to this podcast after August 9th, it's already over, but I do run this free challenge every single January and July. So I would still recommend to get into the group, and that way you'll be all ready and set when we kick things off in January as well. But this 14-day accountability challenge is all about helping you change your life. It's all about gaining clarity, and it's going to help you truly learn the foundational steps for you to manifest your dream life. And I know the word manifesting is thrown around a lot lately on social media and other podcasts and all that sort of stuff. And all it means is that it literally teaches you how and what to do in order to create the life that you want. And I'm so excited to be an assistance to help support you and guide you through that, because I've done this over and over and over in my life. And I have learned the things to do and not to do. So I hope you come join me inside that community. If you can, join the challenge right now if you're listening to this during our challenge, and I will see you over there. With that being said, I want to talk about the 4 big themes that come up for women every single time I host this mid-year reset challenge. And this is going to help you with gaining clarity for yourself this year right now. And it's exactly why I run this challenge. And these 4 big themes include health, money, relationships, and goals. And we all at some point in our lives have struggled with one of these themes. Am I right? You might be struggling with one of these themes right now. You might be struggling with a couple of them or even all of them at the same time. So today I'm going to give you tangible advice and tips for you to start manifesting and taking control of these areas, especially if they may be causing you stress, anxiety, depression, or if you just constantly feel like you just can't get yourself out of the cycle of setting the goal to accomplish a certain thing for yourself and then failing or not being able to accomplish them. And you just are in this cycle of you set the goal, but you do or don't do the things all the way, and you just feel really deflated and you feel unmotivated to try again. I highly recommend that if you are listening to this while driving, maybe after you're done driving, write down some of these steps or come back to this episode. If you're walking, maybe you can take some notes in your notes section of the app of your phone. And if you're just listening wherever and you can write them down in a notebook, please do, because I promise you, this has worked for me my entire adult life. And that's how I have just been able to manifest so many things and accomplish so many goals. And I just keep going and going and going because I've really hacked it down to these few things. Before you set new goals, I want you to first reflect on your previous experiences. So if you've set goals for health, money, relationships, or really anything else that you've been trying to do and failed at in the past, I want you to reflect on that because most people tend to fail. They set that goal again and they try again and again and again, and they get stuck in the cycle of failing because they don't tend to look back and reflect on, hey, what did I do this time that made me fail? What can I change about this last time of what I did and make sure I don't repeat the same mistakes again? And sometimes we think, especially with setting health goals or losing weight, you start on your journey and you want to lose 20 pounds, but you can't seem to lose 5. Or maybe you had a money goal and you set these really huge goals for yourself to make 10K a month and you fall short every single time. Or maybe you're single and you're calling in a relationship, but you just seem to be attracting losers that just never want to get serious with you. How you do this is you just take a piece of paper and literally write down everything that you did to achieve that goal. And here is the kicker to make this work. You have to be very honest with yourself, which can be, of course, very hard. It's really hard to be honest with yourself, especially when you know it's your fault that you didn't do the thing, or you self-sabotaged yourself, or you just weren't clear enough with what you wanted to do, right? But when you are really honest with yourself, that's when you can make significant changes, okay? So I want you to pay attention to where you place the blame for not reaching your goals. Do you place blame outside of yourself? Or do you blame yourself? So I'm going to give you a couple examples of this. So if you didn't reach a health goal, because maybe your job is taking up so much of your time right now, and you keep telling yourself, I'm going to start next month, or you get started and then you stop because work gets busy, right? Life gets in the way. Or maybe you didn't reach a money goal because your belief is that the economy sucks right now. No one is spending money. No one is investing. So that would be your reason, right? That would be a limiting belief that you have. Or maybe if you're single and dating and you're not meeting anyone because you believe that now, after going on a couple shitty dates, which we've all had them, right? You have decided that all men suck and no one wants to be in a committed relationship anymore. So again, you're putting this limiting belief out there because you've had a few bad experiences that now no one wants to be committed. So you're placing blame outside of yourself. Or you fall into the category of blaming yourself, okay? And throughout any experience that you're having going towards your goals, you've come across a challenge and now you're saying to yourself, well, I'm just not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not experienced enough, right? Sometimes we put that blame on ourselves too, or it could be a combination of both. Because usually when we tend to fail at something and we recognize it and we really care about that thing that we wanted, it's that downward spiral of just going down the rabbit hole of why it didn't work out, which is okay. But you want to use this information to now, when you go for that goal again, let's clean it up so those same things don't happen again to you. Because obviously, whatever you did to start on that goal and get towards that goal, it obviously wasn't the right way to go about it for you. And this is the issue that I have with following different business plans and coaches and trainers and workout plans and meal plans and all of that sort of stuff. Because sometimes, no matter how good the coach is, no matter how good the trainer is, or whoever teacher is, whoever steps you are following, it doesn't mean it's the best way for you to do it. So I really want you to know that because someone else had great success with something doesn't mean, just because you didn't have success in that same way, doesn't mean that you're a failure. You just have to figure out your sauce and figure out what way works for you, what way makes it enjoyable for you. But I just wanted to throw that in there because I've been a trainer in the past, I've been a coach in the past for business, for life, all that sort of stuff. So I totally understand what it feels like to see other people and I've been a student, of course, my entire life. And I know what it feels like to be in the same program as somebody or see testimonials and reviews of someone working through some plan. and it working out for them and it not working for me. And it's really discouraging. And you go down that spiral of like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why didn't I do it right? Like, why did so-and-so, have so much success and why I didn't? And again, we will get to this, but I understand that this happens too. I want you to know that regardless of what you blame or who you blame, the beauty lies in identifying what your beliefs are. And ultimately, in order to shift that belief or those beliefs, it could be multiple, you need to take radical responsibility for it, okay? At the end of the day, where you are today in life, it all comes down to you. You can't place blame on anybody else. And I don't even want you to place blame on yourself. This isn't about blame. It's about taking that radical responsibility and being like, well, shit, here I am today. I don't fucking like it. I want to change it. And, I'm moving on from the past. I'm taking the lessons learned and I'm going to focus on what's in front of me right now. And I'm going to fucking make my life better in the future. And today, starting today, it's taking that radical responsibility because your mind believes every single little thing that you tell it, whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't filter for you. You literally program your mindset with the words that you tell it. So every single day, if you're telling yourself, oh, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm worthless, I'm never going to be able to do this, I'm broke, no one loves me, why doesn't anyone like me? Well, guess what? Your mindset is going to be that. And then what happens next is you start attracting that more into your life. So we have to first start with ourselves. And this is why, everyone talks about affirmations and writing down in your journal, like, I'm so happy and grateful that, and all the gratitude and all of that. And it is so fucking true. And I know it might seem silly at first or just like repetitive and mundane. Trust me, I've heard it all. But you have to remember your mind is a freaking sponge and it's going to believe everything. So if you're constantly talking negatively about yourself or when something goes wrong, you go into that negative spiral, I want you to start catching yourself. Because something shitty happened. So many reasons for that. But before I even talk about reasons why, which I don't even think we will in this episode, that's just a whole nother place to go to. But what I want you to start doing is to catch yourself in that moment and be like, wait a minute. And this is a habit. This is now forming a new habit. You catch yourself and you're like, wait a minute. No, like something didn't work out. Okay. I'm trusting the universe. I'm trusting God, whatever it is that you believe in. I'm trusting that I was not supposed to do it this way. I was not supposed to date that person. I was not supposed to, whatever. All you have to do is trust and be like, okay, what's the lesson here? What did I do to attract this? What did I do to create this outcome? Okay, maybe I shouldn't do that next time. Literally, they're all just lessons. We're here on this earth in this lifetime, learning lessons over and over so we can evolve, expand, and grow. If everything was perfect, if everything was so easy to manifest, if everything was happy, joy, life is so good, you would be so fucking bored. You would be so bored. If you could just, I wish for $1 million that landed in your lap. I wish for this car. I wish for the perfect partner. I wish for $1 million business. Do you know how bored you would be? Because nothing would, it's too easy. Nothing would be challenging. You wouldn't be growing. You wouldn't be evolving. You wouldn't be expanding. You just kind of have it all. And I'm sure maybe you do know some people like this, that they do have it all. And those people, I don't know, to me, they just kind of seem boring. I want you to know that every single time you face a challenge or something doesn't work out for you, good. Because as long as you are learning from that experience, it's going to equip you to move forward and accomplish it in the future. It might not be the next try or the next try or the next try. But sooner or later down the road, as long as you keep going and you don't stop and you don't give up, you cannot consider yourself a failure. The only time that you ever fail in life is when you quit and you give up and you don't try again. All right? So by reflecting and writing down what you did is completely key. And being aware of these different mindsets and shifting the mentality to positive and working with your limiting beliefs and clearing them out and being aware of all of that, it's going to be the most powerful step that you can take. And the issue with this is most people don't do the reflection part. They just fail and try, and they try again and they try again. And there's a saying for that. When you do something over and over and over and expecting a different outcome, that's insanity. Insanity, right? We don't want to do that. We will try again, but let's do something different. From there, I want you to write down what you can do different or better. So for example, for a health goal, if you did not hit your health goal because you couldn't stick with the workouts, because they were really hard for you and they were not fun for you, then it's time to change the types of workouts that you want to do. So maybe you signed up for a gym and you were going to the gym by yourself and you were maybe following a plan on Instagram or TikTok or something, right? Or you printed out a plan from online and you were just going every day or first few days and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard and I don't like it and I'm sore and you have this whole plan right now and you do the first couple exercises and you're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to leave. And instead, maybe the next time around, maybe you need a personal trainer that's going to guide you and walk you through every single workout and be your little personal cheerleader and support system. So it's about finding that little change and shift that you can make. Don't print out a whole nother workout plan and try to go to the gym and do it again. No, you hated it the first time. Nothing's going to change. We have to start learning to figure out what we like and what we don't like. And yes, of course, there are times that you go through tasks and you go through experiences and stuff that you need to do and it's unenjoyable, but there's such a difference and you know the difference. Like my workouts, for example, I go weight train at the gym, I think 4 days a week. One of the days is more chill and one of the days I just go for a long cardio walk and stuff like that. My gym workouts, they're freaking hard, but I fucking love them. I'm so obsessed with them, but they're hard on me physically, mentally. Halfway through it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm fucking dying. This is so hard. My muscles hurt. But at the same time, I'm obsessed. So you know the difference. You know the difference for you, where you are at with something and whether you need to change it or not. And say, for example, you had a money goal. And if the reason maybe you're not achieving 10K months or whatever your money goal is because maybe you've been afraid to show up online and allow people to actually learn about you and what you do, and you're afraid of social media. It's like, how can you get more clients online if you're not showing up online yourself, right? And you need to just work on creating a post. And maybe this is where you can find a coach to help you be accountable and teach you how to do it, right? So it's really just tweaking these little things for yourself to be like, okay, what do I need to be successful with this? What do I need to learn to be successful with this? So reflecting on what you did is key, because from there, you're aware that if you try to go out and do the same thing, like I said, something needs to change. And once you have that awareness and understand that doing the same thing over and over and over is not going to give you a different result, and before trying again, just try something different. Are you a woman with dreams of unleashing your full potential, but you feel there is something holding you back? I want to introduce you to the Manuscripting Journal, the #1 selling manifestation and goal-setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. This journal is your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. Inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling entries, workbooks, and exercises to set goals, plan your dreams, and manifest the life you deserve. It also offers an online community of like-minded women on the same path as you, which includes free masterclasses and support to help you during this transformation, so you are not alone. Say goodbye to overwhelm and hello to clarity. With the Manuscripting Journal, you'll develop a positive mindset, nurture self-love, and create a roadmap for success. Join the thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their lives with the Manuscripting Journal. Take the first steps towards a life filled with purpose and joy. Visit manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. And as a podcast subscriber, enjoy a special 20% discount on your first journal order at manuscripting.com by using the code podcast. Empower yourself and script your dreams into reality with the Manuscripting Journal, because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're obsessed with. See show notes for details. So the next step after that is to reassess your priorities and recognize what season you are in. Now, you want to evaluate whether your goals and desires have shifted or evolved since the beginning of the year, okay? Determine if any goals are no longer aligned with your current values or aspirations, and you want to reprioritize accordingly to focus on what truly matters to you. Now, this is something that took me way too long to recognize and implement into my life. Just like the earth has seasons, our lives have seasons as well, and especially as women, okay? We are not meant to be in hustle mode 24/7 at all. There are times that we need to rest. There are times when we need to be in our creatrix mode. I don't like to use the word hustle, but that creatrix mode, that's like the AKA hustle mode, and making things happen. Now, a lot of us set so many goals at one time that it's no wonder that we either burn out or fail at them, because when you're in a season of growth and change, you're spreading yourself way too thin. And this is overwhelming for reprogramming your mind to achieve all those goals. Last year, I put my fitness and workouts completely on the back burner. Honestly, I wouldn't call myself burnt out because I was heavily focused on business. But even though working out and staying fit and in shape is like literally my favorite thing to do, like I loved going to the gym, but growing a startup business took so much time and energy out of me that the last thing that I wanted to focus on or even go do was to go work out. Like I was so mentally drained, which like even just all I did at that point was just go for walks with Milo and go play with him, whether it was at the park or at the beach and stuff like that, like for like 30, 60 minutes. So I did get my daily movement in, which I've talked about in previous episodes, but it wasn't like my tough workouts that really I needed to stay in shape, because I was stressed out with my company and business, of course. Then if I'm not working out, my meal plan suffers. It's just a downhill slope from there when it comes to all of my good habits. But I was fully aware of that and I honored myself. I didn't beat myself up every single day like, oh my gosh, Sam, you're getting out of shape. Oh, Sam, you're putting on a few pounds. Like you should eat better. Or, I honored the season I was in. And that created less stress in my life. And I'm 99% sure I gained less weight, more than I could have at that time. But because I wasn't stressing out over it, I just let it be. And I knew, because I have it ingrained in me to be fit, to work out. Like I love to work out. And I just knew this was the season that I was in. And I was like, I'm okay with it. Like next year or after these next few months, like I'm fully aware that I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to love it. And now this year, I am back to it. I'm in the gym every single day. I'm eating better than ever. I'm feeling better. I'm looking better than ever. Like there's so many things that I did to kickstart it because now my life allowed that. Now, I don't recommend this for everyone, and it is not an excuse to get out of shape and not go to the gym and whatever, but I'm just saying that's how it worked out for me in that season. It wasn't planned, but I just honored it. And I know that if I tried to do both, especially in the season, like you guys, like I was working around the clock. It was a lot because one, I have to work on the business daytime, America time, but my manufacturers are all overseas. So there was many nights that were very sleepless because I'd have to be on calls with manufacturers at 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning and going over plans. And then of course, after those are usually sometimes stressful or exciting. So then after that, it's like, I'm too excited or stressed out to go to sleep. So it was just really screwed up for me. But at the same time, in order to grow my business and to get it to what is today and now, I had to do those things. So there's a lot of give and take, and there's a lot of sacrifice, and just being fully aware of these ebbs and flows of life, you just need to become more comfortable with. And like I said, you not use it as an excuse, but as a tool to empower you to recognize where your focus is going and when something is a priority or not. And if it isn't, don't beat yourself up for it, and just future plan it into your life and know, like, okay, after this season of X, I know I'll get back to doing this. Okay. It's when we start trying to do everything all at once is when you're going to fail, because you're spreading yourself too thin. A lot of times you don't have the energy to focus on it all. And this is why I say, whenever you start new habits and routines, focus on one thing at a time. And then that one thing, once you've mastered it and it's implemented, add in the next thing. And then the next thing. And then all of a sudden, it's like your life feels like it changed overnight. But if you look back, you'll be able to see, oh, that's crazy. Like, it actually took me months or years to get to this point. And it's because I did it in a way where energetically everything was aligned. So it's just really recognizing what's important to you right now. And don't do something because someone told you to. That's another big one, especially with a lot of trends on social media that we seem to see on Instagram or TikTok. And it's really easy to like fall into the trap of like, oh my gosh, so many people are doing this. I need to do it too. Like, really, really, really be inspired by external things. But again, it all comes back to what you are in alignment with and what you have the time and energy to commit to. The next step is setting up an inspired action plan to set and hit your goal. Now, this is the good and juicy stuff, because without a good action plan, a goal is just a wish, right? So this is my favorite part about teaching this stuff, because these are the little aha moments and the little tiny tips that are really going to take you from start to finish, especially if you stay committed. And I'm sure, and I hope you stay committed for your goal this time, because I know by you listening to this podcast, you're into self-development. You are into this world of making your life better, and you have a goal to do so. Now that you have reflected and reassessed your priorities, you can now actually set your goal. So I highly suggest to set and work on a goal one at a time, like I said. And as you're on the mission to manifest or accomplish this goal, you will, I was going to say you might, but you will come across challenges. A great book that I have to actually recommend on this topic of focusing on one goal at a time. This is a book that I read a couple years ago and I loved it. It was and this is why I said, like, this whole part took me way too long to implement into my life until I read this book. And it created this incredible mindset shift for me where I didn't have to do all the things all the time, focus on the one thing. And the book is called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's a fantastic book that gives super practical advice on really improving productivity and achieving like incredible, remarkable results. And it really encourages you to simplify your approach to success. And by focusing on one thing at a time is all that truly matters. So I do recommend the book. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. Order on Amazon, go listen to it on Audible. It will really help anchor this information in. Something that you can do today is create an inspired action plan for your goal. So you do this, and this is where you'll have to take notes if you don't have a piece of paper right now. But all that you do is you take a piece of paper and put it landscape. So that's like the long side of the paper is like the part that you're writing on, okay? So you want to draw 3 columns, separating into 3 columns. And I want you to write down in the first far left column, I want you to write down the goal that you want to accomplish. Or far right. Write down the goal that you want to accomplish. Then in the first column, I want you to write down where you are today in reference to what you wrote down as your goal. So for example, if your goal is to lose 50 pounds, bringing you down to 145 pounds, in your goal column, you'd write, I want to write down 50 pounds. And in the first column, you're going to write, today, I'm 195 pounds. All right. And then in the center column, I want you to write as many things as you can think of that will help you achieve that goal. So you're probably going to write down that you need to start working out. You need to get a good workout plan. You need to eat healthier. If you have maybe low self-esteem or low confidence, you'll need to add or improve my self-confidence. If you hate your body, you'll write down, I need to love myself more and honor my body. And just keep writing down all the things that you believe you need to do in order to lose those 50 pounds. And the same thing goes, like, if you want to start a business today, let's say you have a corporate job that is sucking the life out of you. So the action steps that you'll most likely be writing down is something along the lines of, getting clear on a business that you want to start. Do you need to learn more about starting a business? Do you need or want to hire a coach? Or will you use YouTube University to teach yourself? Literally just brain dump all the things that you want to do with your end goal. And what's really cool about this process is intuitively, you already know what you need to do. You already know what you need to do. I know you know what you need to do. And this now is creating a list for you to recognize all the things that you can do to really start incorporating into your life. And once you have this list ready, you can then start planning these tasks into your schedule. Some of these items that you've listed will be a one-time task. Awesome. Schedule it sometime soon. Others are daily or weekly tasks or habits or routines that you need to implement. And all you need to do is just make sure that these things that you're going to start doing are challenging, but realistic enough for you to accomplish. I want you to set that goal, but like I said, be realistic. Like if you already have a super packed schedule, don't add a whole bunch of stuff that you need to do this week, right? Like trickle those things in. Make it realistic because again, if you don't have the time or energy for it, it's not going to work out. This is like the really tactical work of becoming super clear and creating the action steps to take, but that's not all that it takes to achieve your goal this time, okay? You also need to reprogram your mindset because you already either have proof of failure, and I'm using failure even though you're trying again, but right now it's failure because you haven't tried again, which could inhibit your chances of success this time, but not if you get your mindset right. This part starts with your deepest desire for commitment. You right now have to make the wholehearted decision that you want to change and achieve this goal and that you want to grow, evolve, and expand into the woman who has already achieved that goal. I saw the biggest shifts in success in my life when I became obsessed. I'm talking obsessed with taking every single chance that I could to listen or watch something that helped me grow, evolve, or expand, or all three. Because the reality is that, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast episode, that what you have today, the life that you have today is a compilation of the thoughts, actions, and feelings that you've had in the past. So of course, if you're unhappy with whatever that thing is in your life today, you need to hyper-focus on changing and breaking those patterns, emotions, and habits that actually got you to this point. It's like going again for this goal that you have and doing the same things. But if you still have that same mindset to accompany it too, it's like, again, it's insanity. You can't outwork. It's like saying you can't outtrain a bad diet. Same thing goes for accomplishing something new. If you have a negative mindset, no matter how much work you put into it, your mindset's going to win. Because any little challenge, inconvenience, thing that goes wrong, whatever, any little thing that pops up for you, immediately you're going to self-sabotage because your mindset's going to be negative. So can't outtrain a bad diet. You can't outtrain a bad mindset either. Once you start really focusing on that and hyper focusing on that, it's going to be a game changer. So here are my 4 biggest tips for reprogramming your mindset the lazy way, because I know you're busy. I know you're doing lots of things, and what got you to today? Like, I just know there are 0 excuses for you to not do this, because I know everything on this list, you have time for at least one of them every single day. I guarantee it. And so let's get into these 4 things. I want you to choose your favorite one, and you're already kind of doing it if you listen to a podcast, but I want you to choose one and like actually do it every single day. So the first one for reprogramming your mindset is listening to motivating and inspiring podcasts. This is a great start. I mean, you're already listening right here, and whether you're newer to podcasts or you've been listening to podcasts for a long time, let's shift to, no matter what you're listening to motivating and inspiring one, something that's going to teach you something. I'm not talking about the shows like, I don't know, I'm not even going to throw any out there because I don't listen to anything but stuff that inspires me or teaches me something. I'm not talking about like the storytelling podcast. That doesn't count. I'm talking about stuff that's going to grow you and expand your mind and change your mindset. You can do this while driving. You can do this while cleaning. You can do this while taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Like when I tell you I got obsessed with this stuff, I was doing this stuff all the time. All the time. Like literally when I was showering, I'd play and listen to something. When I was driving, like all the time. Because they are so, so powerful. And the same thing goes for the next one, number 2, which is always be reading a self-development book or listen to it on Audible. Now, self-development book can be a factor of things. It could be something that teaches you something. It could be something that inspires you. It can even be an autobiography of somebody, because learning from other people's stories is also very inspiring, and it can help change your life as well. And again, with Audible, you can listen to it while driving. You can listen to it while showering, all of that too. Going into number 3, replace any spare time with filling your mind with learning something new, something that inspires you or grows you. So for example, the next time you're spending hours binge watching Netflix to quote unquote relax, right? We're just numbing out our lives, to be honest. We're getting those dopamine hits, which yes, they're wonderful. But at the same time, if you're in a place that you hate your fucking life or you hate things about your life, you don't have time for that. You don't have the luxury for that. And honestly, I haven't watched TV with Mark. We haven't watched TV. And now, ever since we moved to Austin, we actually turned on the TV and we wanted to watch an episode of Succession, which we loved, like Succession, Billions. We love those like shows like that because we learn a lot and we get very inspired from it. We actually wanted to watch an episode of that a couple weeks ago. And we're like, oh gosh, should we break our streak? Like we got to a point where we're like, oh my gosh, we've been going so long without TV. Like, well, why do we break it? And then like one night we decided, it was like a Saturday night, we cooked dinner at home. We're like, oh gosh, let's watch an episode of Succession. We turned it on and we were the whole way through that episode, we were just not entertained. We were like, this is not hitting the spot. It was so crazy. Like we were not getting that dopamine hit, that dopamine reaction, that enjoyment that we got so much from that show. And it's not just because it's not because it was a bad episode either. We're like, this is the same type of stuff we were watching. And now we're like, so like not excited about it. And now like ever since that episode, we're like, we have no desire to watch TV. And every evening instead, we have replaced that with actually meditating, hanging out, really talking about different things going on. We love our evenings so much and hanging out with Milo. They are so beautiful. If you follow me on my Instagram, I sometimes post the look of even our living room that we've set it up. Like we dim all the lights. We have these beautiful solar galaxy lights. We turn on all the candles and it is just such a freaking vibe. And it has been such a powerful transformation for our evening routines to then easily go to sleep after that. And we go to sleep and we feel really good. And it's just such a beautiful, I can't even believe, like if someone told me like, you need to stop watching TV, I'd be like, oh no, but I don't know. We started doing this after we actually did a plant medicine journey and it just stuck. And we are just so freaking grateful. It's one thing that's really changed our lives, to be honest. And Mark and I are already obviously super close and super in love, but it's just taking a relationship to the next level. And we're engaged right now. And that's super important to constantly have this time and space to connect as lovers and partners and really be able to reflect together every single night, which I don't think enough people do. And then they wonder why they drift apart or are not growing together. And it's a really sacred time for us. And I highly recommend trying to switch it up and do something like that. I digress with all of that. I wanted to kind of pop in that little tidbit because it is all about taking a look at how you spend your time. We all have the same amount of hours in a day, and you can really change your life if you really start mastering how you spend that time. Number 4 is anytime you have the opportunity to listen to music, replace it with listening to a podcast, YouTube channel, or Audible book. So again, whenever I'm driving, cleaning, doing dishes, going for a walk, 95% of the time, I'm listening to something that would teach me or inspire me. Like it's as simple as that. You have to become obsessed with wanting to change your life. Too many people complain about it. Too many people complain about so many different things, their job, their health, their money, all of that, but they don't do shit about it. And no one's going to come save you. No one will save you. You have to save you. You have the power to save you. I don't care what sort of circumstance you are in. If you are watching or listening to this podcast right now, I know that you have access to free things that can help change your life. You just have to take the action to do it. It's as simple as that. And by doing those 4 things that I listed on a consistent basis, you will 100% undoubtedly start reprogramming your mindset. And if you haven't come to this conclusion yet, this is all about making subtle changes in your routine and making the effort to make them happen. And I believe it's the easiest and the most laziest way to reprogramming your mind. So I hope you really take this into accountability and really start doing it. And last but not least, I want you to evaluate the health of your relationships and consider whether any adjustments or improvements are needed. And I want you to take a moment to reflect and take inventory of the quality of your friendships and connections that you have in your life right now, and assess if there are any relationships that may require more attention or ones that you need to set boundaries with. And you want to set boundaries with ones that maybe ones that you can't cut out 100%. And you need to spend or limit how much time you spend with them. All right. And then I highly recommend finding a support person or support group, whether that is literally just asking friends that are in alignment with what you're doing, maybe someone you look up to, or maybe this is getting into a program with a coach that maybe has other students that has a support group. But basically what I'm trying to have you do here is have a group or person to help you stay accountable and someone that you can share your challenges with when they come up. And also someone that you can share your success with and will honestly be happy for you and not jealous of you too, or not like make fun of you for it or, any sort of triggering emotions like that. And usually this group of people or person is not always the closest to us. I hear it over and over again inside our community where women are trying to change their lives, but their partners are super negative about it and just not on board and almost like call them like, you're so crazy. Like, why are you trying to change? Why are you getting different? Or maybe if you're still living at home with your parents, maybe your parents just aren't equipped to support you through this transformation phase. Or maybe your friends definitely don't get it and maybe you're made fun of for trying to change or do different things. Or maybe they just stop hanging out with you altogether because you've changed and they just can't relate anymore. And sadly, this is so normal for most people, and it's not your job to change them or persuade them to get on board. They'll either jump on in their own time later down the road, which is definitely normal. I had experiences in my past where I had groups of friends and I started to honestly accelerate in my personal self-development, and I was no longer resonating with them because they wanted to go party and drink and do this and gossip and talk negative and weren't doing shit with their lives. So I left that friend group. But years later, we reconnected for some reason, And a lot of them had changed and grown up too. And now we're like friends again. Everyone is on their own timeline and you can't force them to change. And I don't want you to, and you shouldn't, because you can't force somebody else to do something that they do not want to do. They have to come to it in their own time, and it's so normal. And usually this is the hardest when it's our partners, someone that we're married to, someone that we're dating, someone that we're in love with. And it's frustrating when you see yourself growing and evolving and they're just not, and they might not be supportive of it or making fun of you for it. This is also one of the toughest challenges to overcome. And I always get asked this question, like, what do I do when there's no one around me to lean on to get support? Everyone's negative. Well, here's my answer for you. If you're aligned with this podcast and if you love what I teach and you want more support and you just want to dive in and know more, then I highly invite you and encourage you to join the marriage scripting community. You're going to meet thousands of women in there who are in the exact same place as you, or maybe they were, and now that they've grown and evolved in that group so they can support you with what you're going through. But I want you to jump in there because that's where we host accountability challenges. That's where I host free masterclasses. And there's so much more to do and help you with on this journey. So the link is down in the show notes. I want you to take this mid-year check-in as an opportunity to reevaluate, readjust, refocus on your powerful manifesting efforts because you have them, and use that for the remainder of this year. And just know you are always 1,000 million trillion % supported by the universe. And when you trust that, everything is always going to work out for you. Good or bad, that's when you're going to start seeing the magic happen. So stay committed, stay flexible, stay motivated towards achieving what matters to you most. It's time for you to grow and expand into the woman that you truly desire to become. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful to be a part of this journey. Don't forget, I'm right now hosting a $100 Visa gift card giveaway by leaving a review on this podcast, screenshotting it, posting it to Instagram stories, tagging I am Samantha Kazuch and Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast. And in episodes 5, 6, and 7, I'll be giving away 1 gift card per episode. So with that, my love, I hope you have a magical rest of your day. I love you so, so much. And I'll talk to you in the next episode.